Danny Henry, the captain of the boat that entered the Federation carrying several Haitian migrants, was convicted and sentenced on March 15th following a court hearing at the Charlestown Magistrates Court. Henry, a national of Dominica, was sentenced to 6 months imprisonment for entering a port that is not a formal port, 12 months imprisonment for entering the Federation without the consent of an immigration officer, and required to pay $5,000 in 6 months on customs charges or face 6 months in prison. 50 individuals were taken into police custody following a report made to the Royal St. Christopher Nevis Police Force about a boat coming ashore at Gallows Bay, Nevis. According to reports, on February 3 around 6 p.m., 2 males were reported to have exited a boat and were seen walking towards Bath Village. Officers from the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force and the St. Kitts and Nevis Customs and Excise Department responded. 2 males were found in Bath Village and were stopped and questioned. It was revealed that the men were nationals of Dominica and Haiti. It was also revealed that they arrived on a motor vessel that was anchored off the coast in Gallows Bay area. They made their way to the shore using a dinghy. Officers accompanied the men to the vessel where they found 13 nationals of Haiti, 10 adults and 3 juveniles on board. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.
Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew has reaffirmed his move to establish the Poxon Medical Center into a facility that offers hospital services. Dr. Drew, who is also the minister with responsibility for the Ministry of Health, has been maneuvering to develop health services and healthcare to a more advanced level in all departments. From the training and certification of emergency medical technicians to the provision of new medical laboratories and the construction of a new hospital, the Prime Minister sees healthcare and health services as critical to the country's development. Speaking recently on a Freedom FM radio talk show, Dr. Drew outlined intentions to upgrade the Poxon Hospital with full-time doctors and necessary equipment as part of the overall revamping of the healthcare system.
We have sought to increase the doctor coverage in Poxon Hospital. You live at Poxon, and you know at certain times you couldn't get a doctor at all. And we are now transitioning to get doctors at Poxon to have full coverage. And what we are moving to is to establish the X-ray department there and to establish a lab. And even if it is at point care in terms of lab tests to be done there. And so we are in the process of doing that. For years, I don't think that was ever offered. An X-ray was never offered in Poxon. Because when I went to see the X-ray room, the X-ray machine is new, but it was never used. Well, it was new, but it had never been used. And therefore, it will need some refurbishing and to be used for the first time so that the people of Sandy Point and the surroundings can get extended care. And what we recognize is that the people from Sandy Point are happy that when they go to Poxon, they find a doctor. And so we are stabilizing that. We have more doctors covering there, but we want to get it up to a full-time, steady, 24-hour type of service. So we are proud of that. That had never been attempted at that before, and we are doing that within the first 6 months.
While plans proceed to design and build a new hospital, Dr. Drew indicated that upgrades will be made to the JNF General Hospital that will address services, equipment, and professional staffing. Glenn Bart reporting for SK Newsline.
It's beautiful. He took one look at you and the angels started singing.
Another wonderful day.
Ah!
What would you say about staying here for a few months or like a year, just so that we can be together again and just live and love and laugh and have fun and breathe?
Why are you hiding out on a little Caribbean island, singing in a beach bar?
When I came here, I was at peace, and I never left.
This is the beating heart of Nevis. This is what grounds me, what feeds my soul. It's where I found myself.
I hope your life here will be full of joy. Love this island, my son. She will give you more than you can imagine.
The SKN Newsline website now offers you more news. Log on to www.sknnewsline.com for local, regional, and international news. You can also watch the latest newscast and keep abreast with news in sports, all from sknnewsline.com. That's www.sknnewsline.com. News at your fingertips.
Online radio has never been this great. It's Voice of the Caribbean Radio at voiceofthecaribbean.net. Tune into Voice of the Caribbean Radio for great Caribbean programs, news, entertainment, sports, and current affairs. Wake up each morning and be inspired with One Day at a Time with Kim Huey. Stay abreast with news across the Caribbean and internationally with the Caribbean News Hour, and be entertained with shows like Reggaeville, Caribbean Classics, and Jive Music Show. Visit our website, download our Android mobile app, or listen us on TuneIn Radio. There is so much more on Voice of the Caribbean Radio, reaching the Caribbean and beyond. Check website or app for program schedule.
Premier Mark Brantley made the call recently for citizens not to become dependent on social welfare programs and dependent on other forms of government assistance, rather to endeavor to work and to build a future. According to Brantley, governments over the years might have created the impression that their role is to hand out assistance to citizens, and there exists an expectation now that government must provide for financial well-being of citizens. On this issue, Brantley commented on the matter during his radio talk show On the Mark.
We have not to start to talk about and debate how many social programs we have, or how many thousands of people are getting something for free, quote unquote, from the government, but rather we have to now turn our attention to jobs, creating jobs and seeking to move the process forward of building our economy. I am not known of any economy anywhere in the world that has been built on social programs. What I mean by that is to say that I'm not aware of any economy anywhere in the world that is built on government giving away money to the populace. Economies are built on ingenuity, economies are built on entrepreneurship, economies are built on the private sector stepping up. And so the role of the government is to create that environment and allow our people to go out and do what our people have always done, to work hard. To work hard. And that is the point that I think needs to be emphasized by all of us who at this point in time hold public office, by all of us who have a rostrum or pulpit of some kind. We must preach it in the highways and the byways that there is no substitute for hard work, that we have a responsibility to pass on to our children and our grandchildren and those in the community that look up to us that hard work is the only proven pathway to success.
Over the years, there has been a sentiment expressed that some people want to have money, but they are not prepared to do the work. Glenn Bart reporting for SKN Newsline.
50 years ago this month, the legendary El Comido Tonito Willett from Nevis made history, becoming the first player from the Leeward Islands to play for the West Indies. A special gala event honoring his accomplishment was held recently, organized by the Nevis Cricket Association. Tributes were given by Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew and Premier Mark Brantley.
El Comido, as I affectionately refer to you now, your achievements will go way beyond your years. You have shattered the ceiling and allow others to benefit. You have planted a seed, the tree under which you did not enjoy as much shade as others, but that speaks to your greatness. Congratulations again, and you indeed deserve all of the accolades that you're receiving tonight. Thank you for this opportunity. God bless.
Mr. Willett, it is really no trivial feat that you were able to rise to the top. From amongst your counterparts in the Leeward Islands, upon selection by the region's most prestigious cricketing body, you must have exhibited the requisite talent and temperament for selectors to place an asterisk next to your name, and to have achieved all this while still a teenager speaks to your early demonstration of dedication to your craft. I salute you and your continued commitment to passing along your knowledge of cricket to the young and rising stars of the sport. You did this with your own sons and daughter, who have made their own notable contribution to cricket in Nevis and to the region. Your continued presence among the young cricket players of Nevis is deserving of the highest praise. You are indeed, sir, a role model to aspiring cricketers and to all of us citizens alike. Fittingly, Nevis's main cricketing facility bears your name as a lasting legacy of what can be achieved even from the humblest of circumstances. On behalf of the Nevis Island Administration, please accept our highest commendation on your achievements throughout your cricketing career. As we reflect on the 50th anniversary of your selection to the West Indies cricket team, we thank you for committing yourself to your professional development so that today your story stands as an inspiration to us all.
Meanwhile, President of the Nevis Cricket Association, Carlisle Powell, thanked the Nevis Island administration for supporting the gala.
We are grateful for all of you who took time out tonight to come and have dinner with us and to celebrate Mr. El Comido Willett, MBE. We wrote to the Nevis Island administration and asked them for sponsorship, and they came up trumps because something like this evening is very expensive to put on. But the Nevis Island administration, they were very magnanimous and came forward with rock-solid sponsorship. So we thank you, Premier Mark Brantley.
Mr. Willett himself expressed gratitude for the occasion.
I'd like to say thanks to the Nevis Cricket Association for organizing this class year 50. I can't believe it's 50 years since I played first for the West Indies. Somebody told me tonight I just look like 50. Yeah, I can't believe it's 50 years. I am very moved with all the speakers that spoke before me. Yeah, I like to say thanks to you all for the good things, the great things you have said about me. In general, let me say thanks to all of you folks who have taken time out to be here tonight, coming from wherever in the Virgin Islands, Antigua, Montserrat, or wherever. Thanks very much for coming and being a part of this classy at 50.
On March 9th, Willett broke the glass ceiling of insularity existing at the time, pertinent to the selection of cricketers to the West Indies cricket team to become not only the first in the division, but even more significantly, the first Leeward Islander to make it to the prestigious West Indies team. Andre Huey, SKN Newsline.
It's beautiful. He took one look at you and the angels started singing.
Another wonderful day.
What would you say about staying here for a few months or like a year, just so that we can be together again and just live and love and laugh and have fun and breathe?
Why are you hiding out on a little Caribbean island, singing in a beach bar?
When I came here, I was at peace, and I never left.
This is the beating heart of Nevis. This is what grounds me, what feeds my soul. It's where I found myself.
I hope your life here will be full of joy. Love this island, my son. She will give you more than you can imagine.
The SKN Newsline website now offers you more news. Log on to www.sknnewsline.com for local, regional, and international news. You can also watch the latest newscast and keep abreast with news in sports. all from sknnewsline.com. That's www.sknnewsline.com. News at your fingertips.
Online radio has never been this great. It's Voice of the Caribbean Radio at voiceofthecaribbean.net. Tune into Voice of the Caribbean Radio for great Caribbean programs, news, entertainment, sports, and current affairs. Wake up each morning and be inspired with One Day at a Time with Kim Huey. Stay abreast with news across the Caribbean and internationally with the Caribbean News Hour, and be entertained with shows like Reggaeville, Caribbean Classics, and Jive Music Show. Visit our website, download our Android mobile app, or listen us on TuneIn Radio. There is so much more on Voice of the Caribbean Radio, reaching the Caribbean and beyond. Check website or app for program schedule.
This month began with a sudden advance of the gangs that have terrorized the Haitian capital for the last few years.
It's unbearable. You're thinking it can be that worse. And the next day, you find out it's getting worse.
Marco Ladosiliere is trapped in Port-au-Prince, unable to reach his agri-food business in Haiti's south.
Many schools are now being closed because they are receiving threats from gangs, telling the schools that if you have to operate, you have to pay a ransom. Some days they even kidnap 30 people. And it happens that they kidnap school bus. Imagine, school bus with little kids, little angels being kidnapped. And you know what? I'm sure Trudeau knows that.
The Trudeau government is under pressure from Joe Biden to intervene directly in Haiti, which Trudeau has resisted. It was a major topic last time they met in January.
We're all very aware that things could get worse in Haiti, and that's why Canada and partners, including the United States, are preparing various scenarios if it does start to get worse.
Now that things have suddenly gotten worse, Trudeau is still resisting sending Canadian troops or police.
Outside intervention, as we've done in the past, hasn't worked to create long-term stability for Haiti.
I agree with the Prime Minister.
Haiti's most prominent opposition leader says it's true foreign missions haven't brought lasting peace and probably wouldn't bring it now. But he admits most Haitians just want someone to stop the gangs.
I understand those people. They're asking for any solution that can help them right away to make sure that the gangs can no longer kidnap them, can no longer rape their children.
In Canada, there's little sign the public wants a costly intervention in Haiti. Next week, President Biden will be here, and he's expected to put more pressure on the Trudeau government to fix a situation that no one else has been able to deal with. Evan Dyer, CBC News, Ottawa.
The wait has been worth it. That's according to President of the SVG Teachers Union, Oswald Robinson, after today's ruling was handed down by High Court Judge Justice Esco Henry in the union's court challenge against the government's COVID-19 vaccination mandate, which has affected hundreds of local public servants, including over 200 teachers. Under the statutory rules and orders of 2021, public servants who were considered frontline workers were required to get vaccinated against COVID-19, and those who did not take the jab were deemed to have abandoned or resigned from their jobs. However, in her ruling today, Justice Henry said these special measures rules were unlawful, unconstitutional, and void. In an interview with SVG TV News, Robinson said there were so many procedural errors with the vaccination mandate and the rights of people were also violated, which was pointed out in the judge's ruling.
This victory brought out humility. I'm really humbled. You know, it's an emotional time because you have been called to serve and you accepted the responsibility. And when you see the faith of these people in the Creator, you know that God has a hand in this. So we must put him first and give him thanks and praise for what has happened thus far. We know that sufferings sometimes come as like behind every dark cloud, there's a silver lining, you know. And history again has been written. because this is the third consecutive occasion that the teachers union, well, in this we have a collaborative effort now with Public Service Union and the Police Welfare Association now, but in our context as a teachers union, this is the third consecutive time we have taken the government to court for violating the Constitution. Most of the time they were speaking administrative law, we are speaking constitutional law. And when a state sets out to use the Constitution against its citizen, that is something of great concern. So I am very happy. The victory is really for God and also for those who are directly being impacted.
The SVG-TU president said it is their hope that the government will accept where it went wrong in the matter.
An apology to the workers of this country, and let us get back people's livelihood. Let's get the education system back on track. Many of the children out there, we saw what happened. You fire them and you did not want to admit that because you fired the experienced, qualified workers, things would have gone in the wrong direction. So we are looking forward that all the workers would be reinstated with all the benefits, with all the pay. We know for sure that the lawyers would have to make a submission for costs, because all that is part of the ruling. I think it's a very thorough, very comprehensive ruling by the judge. She left no stones unturned, and I'm sure that the general public now could understand why it took a little long. You know, but when you do something, you have to do it properly, and anything that is good takes a little time. As some people say, a hurry boy don't build a goodness. And my grandmother used to say, if you take time and kill ants, you go find the guts. So patience is virtue. We waited long, and now that the ruling is here, I hope that the government will not want to extend this historic wrong by saying you're going to appeal. I don't think you should be doing that. If you really care about the people of the nation and the education system, you know, and to see that we don't really want to push the unemployment rate up and deepen poverty, you know, and increase in crime and violence and all the other social ills. We have too many on our table right now to deal with.
Industrial Relations Officer of the Teachers Union, Andrew John, said while they are humbled by the judgment, they are also elated.
I tell you, I feel as if a weight has been lifted off the shoulders, not just of the leadership of the union and, you know, those of us who are involved, but you see those teachers who were dismissed, unceremoniously dismissed, and were pushed more or less into poverty. We had cases where persons who had their mortgages, you know, after 3 months, after 6 months, because this would have gone on for some time. You know, last December the 3rd was the anniversary, 1 year since persons were dismissed. And you know, some of these financial institutions, which is understandable, they want their money.
We have breaking news out of The Hague in the Netherlands. The International Criminal Court has issued an arrest warrant for Russia's Vladimir Putin for his alleged involvement in the unlawful deportation of children from Russia's occupied areas of Ukraine. Joining us now is Garry Kasparov, former world chess champion and chairman for Renewed Democracy Initiative. Garry, it's great seeing you. I just want your first reactions to this news from the International Criminal Court.
Long overdue. Yeah, it's great news. The list of Putin crimes is endless, but this time they had confession on television. It was a conversation between Putin and so-called Ombudsman for Children's Rights in Russia, and she proudly said she had adopted one of the forcibly deported kids. We're talking about a few hundred thousands of Ukrainian children being forcefully removed from Ukraine and adopted by Russian families. And of course, there are a couple of millions, at least, of Ukrainians, adult Ukrainians, that have been also shifted from Ukraine to various Russian regions. But it's quite a unique situation because many of these crimes are committed by Russian troops in Ukraine, and this is genocidal war. It had real evidence. And very often on Russian television, Russian propaganda bragged about these crimes. And this time we had Putin personally making a confession about him blessing this crime. And I don't think it's an alleged crime because we have recorded confession.
Gary, many outspoken critics of Putin remain behind bars in Russia, including opposition leader Alexei Navalny and Vladimir Kara-Murza. How concerned are you about them and the thousands of other people who have spoken against Putin?
Concern is probably a very, very weak word because their life is in danger. And as for Volodymyr Kara-Murza, his health has been deteriorating. He's in grave danger now, and hopefully something can be done. And you correctly said, it's not just Alexei Navalny or Volodymyr Kara-Murza. There are thousands of political prisoners in Russia, and their fate depends on Ukrainian victory. Only Ukrainian victory, combined with Western sanctions and pressure on Russia, could lead to the collapse of Putin regime and eventual release of thousands of political prisoners and hopefully liberation of my country from Putin's fascism.
You know, Gary, it's not just them that are running in danger. Last month, your group, Free Russia Forum, was labeled a threat to the constitutional order and security by the Russian General Prosecutor's Office. I'm thinking that you've got to be kind of aware of what that kind of accusation could mean to you.
Yeah, look, we all now just, one or another, declare to be threats to constitutional order because we have been fighting Putin regime. All my colleagues who marched with me on the streets of Russia 10, 15 years ago, now either in jail like Navalny or Kara-Murza or others, or killed like Boris Nemtsov, or most of us, thanks God, are in exile. And while we understand the threats to us resulted as our activities and our incessant fight against Putin, we have to do it because many of our colleagues, our comrades, they are behind Putin bars and they are just in grave danger. And unless we keep fighting, unless we win eventually, we believe we have to win, their lives may end abruptly at any moment.
Gary Kasparov, I thank you. Listen, take care. It's great to speak with you, and I thank you very much for your time.
California-based First Republic Bank got a $30 billion rescue package from the country's biggest financial institutions. The small bank, which specialized in catering to ultra-wealthy individuals, had many uninsured deposits. Nervous customers began withdrawing money rapidly after two other mid-sized banks failed in recent days.
First Republic is an interesting example of investors, I think, anticipating a problem where none exists. But the very anticipation in the drawdown in their deposit base has put the bank at some degree of risk.
Banking giants J.P. Morgan Chase, Citigroup, Bank of America, and Wells Fargo agreed to deposit $5 billion apiece in First Republic, with other banks supplying smaller amounts.
In a joint statement, the big banks said their rescue plans showed their confidence in First Republic and banks of all sizes, which, they added, are critical to the health and functioning of the financial system.
A pretty jovial group.
Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen tried to convince Congress and the public that there is no cause for panic.
I can reassure the members of the committee that our banking system is sound and that Americans can feel confident that their deposits will be there when they need them. This week's actions demonstrate our resolute commitment to ensure that our financial system remains strong and that depositors' savings remain safe.
Will the private sector rescue and public sector rhetoric be enough to quell investors' queasiness? Stock market indices closed higher, one sign the strategy may be working. But analysts say there is real fear in the financial sector.
The shareholders are at risk. As was noted, the First Republic shares soared at the news of the rescue, but then they plummeted in after-hours trading. And I think we can see that volatility continuing for a while.
In other words, buckle up. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Rob Reynolds, Al Jazeera, Los Angeles.
The SKNFA, through its grassroots program, will be hosting a football festival on Saturday at the Halfway Tree playing field. Over 100 youth from various football clubs across the country will be participating in the festival in different age brackets. One of the coordinators of the grassroots program, Jazza Buchanan, explained the concept of the festival and what will be happening.
It's grassroots festival, Wonder Festival, where we have U5, U6, U7, U8, U9, 10, 11, and U12 and 13 from different clubs and people in the island here with grassroots took part in a Wonder Festival here tomorrow, 9:30 start. With football, with the in zones, where U5 and U6 play against each other, U5 and 7 and 8 play against each other. 9, 10, 11 also to play against each other. They're in different categories based on the age, took part in different areas of the field. And
he expects this will help spark more interest in grassroots football.
Some kids are always, mostly the grassroots, they play more about themselves with each other, and so it's a good now for other kids in soccer, more different parts of the countryside, and compete as one against other grassroots. And so the grassroots is not based on who win. It's just a level in terms of where they see where the kids them are, and it's a lot of fun in terms of with it too.
Meanwhile, executive member of the SKNFA in charge of grassroots football, Phil Cooper, said this initiative is designed to improve youth football among the various clubs and by extension raising the standard in St. Kitts and Nevis.
It was a leapfrog. Now I say a leapfrog from something that is dormant to something that is active. And we wanted this to give the clubs a little energy, a little boost, you know, and youth football is around the corner, and we wanted to use this as well. Same way, a little energy, a little boost for the youths to let them come out, you know, let them start to have fun, let them know that, hey, we want football back again. So that was the main purpose behind the festival, just to put a little energy into youth football again.
Mr. Cooper promised that more grassroots football festivals will be held by the association. Connery Fireballs International and Trafalgar South Stars scored big wins on Thursday in SKNFA Division 1 action at the St. Mary's Park in Keon. Connery crushed 607 Construction Lodge Patriots 5-0, while South Stars condemned TGE Deep Bay Eagles to their first loss of the season, 3-1. In the Connery match, Orlando Ack Mitchum scored the first goal in the 50th minute, Kemal Shari scored 2 goals in the 32nd and 81st minutes, and Ozzie Butte and Kavir Nisbeth scored in the 39th and 80th minutes, respectively. Coach of Connery Fireballs International, Kenisha Byron, said the team came into this match knowing they had to win.
Honestly, basically, we were just making sure that they attack together, defend together, try to keep the team as, compact as possible when we don't have it. We knew that based on our last game, we couldn't do with a lose tonight. So I am happy for the win, but still a little on them simply because they could have done better. But regardless, I'm glad for the success.
In their last encounter, Connery Fireballs lost 1-0 to Trafalgar South Stars, and that motivated the team to come into Thursday's match with a different mentality, Coach Byron said.
The last game actually hit us a bit hard, even though it wasn't like a big loss. It was still a loss regardless. And so going forward, like we explained to each other, like what was the weak points and try to strengthen that, and going forward, hopefully that we continue on a winning streak rather than, because the aim is to go to Premier. So we know, the players know as well, that we can't afford to lose any more games. So I guess they came up with that in mind, and to know that basically if you don't score, you can't win.
In the Trafalgar South Stars 3-1 win over Dieppe Bay, the goal scorers were South Stars Ronaldo Nisbet in the 13th minute, Salari Willett in the 23rd minute, and Clarissa Gums in the 85th minute. Josiah Bradshaw scored the lone goal for Dieppe Bay in the 63rd minute.
Welcome to the SKN Newsline Weather Report. I am Janil Boole. Here is a look at the forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis. For a more detailed weather report, visit our website at www.sknnewsline.com.